Hi, I'm Elizabeth, and this series of videos is about preparedness for the non-prepper. I don't consider myself to be a prepper, but I do think it's important to be ready for weather events and for other temporary issues that can come up that mean you need to be self-sufficient for anywhere from a few days to a few weeks. This is not the kind of prepper stuff like bunkers in the backyard or anything like that. It's not that kind of video. This one is about water. Water is one of the most important things, really even above food. If you've ever experienced like a water main break down the street and all of a sudden you don't have any water, you'll know what I mean. It is difficult to deal with not having water, and a lot of times you just have to leave your house and go to a hotel. But what happens if the whole city doesn't have water and you can't go to a hotel? The hotels don't have water. You do want to have some water on hand, just some bottled water that you can easily grab. This is for like short temporary water outages, that water main break that they're working hard to fix and it's going to be done in 12 hours, but you need some water to drink right now. Either jugs of water, small bottles, whatever you want to have on hand. Some people take that a step further and they store large quantities of water. We're a family of 11. We have 9 children. We're also military, so we move frequently. So I don't store enormous quantities of water. We live where there's running water, running water outside that we can get to and filter and drink the way you would if you were backpacking. So I'm comfortable with the fact that we don't keep huge amounts of water on hand. But I do want to go through some of the things that we have for that. Our biggest, most important thing, we have a berkey filter, and the water in our town here, we're on an artesian well, and I don't care for the taste of the water. I thought when we moved here, like, oh, an artesian well, that's really interesting, and that'll be great water, and it has kind of a strange taste that I don't care for. So we drink all of our water from the berkey filter. These are replacement berkey filters. This is how they come right from the company. These are the black berkey filters. I believe they have a few different versions. I'm going to try and open this box. I remember it being very difficult to open the last time we replaced them. Your berkey filters will last, they'll last you a while. Depending on how many people, they'll last you, I would say, anywhere from 6 months to 18 months. It also depends on how big your berkey is and how many filter elements you have in them. They go from anywhere from, I think, 2 filter elements to 8 filter elements. The one that we've had for about 10 or 12 years. We bought it when we had not so great quality water at one of our assignments, and it's smaller. We didn't have that many kids then. We had, I think, 3 kids at the time, and it's a 4 filter version. This is how they come. There's 2 in here. I don't recommend, you can get plugs for the spots for the other ones, but I don't recommend using less than 2 or it's going to take forever to filter your water. I'm handling this very carefully because I don't want to drop it. It is going to get some black dust on my hands. In order to use this, you do have to prime it, and it comes with instructions on how to prime it. It's not difficult. This is how it attaches, so it'll be like up in the top part of the berkey, and the metal will go between here, and you'll kind of just screw it on that way. This is the disc that it comes with. This is the priming piece. You attach it here, and then you hold it up upside down to a faucet, and the water pressure from the faucet will force water into it and prime it. I didn't bring it down here, but we do have a no water pressure primer piece because the way our faucet is here, it doesn't work very well with this. Certain types of faucets, like the kind that you can pull out and have like sprayers on them, they don't really work well to prime the berkeys. So we do have the like the handheld. It's like a bulb, and you can force water through it to prime it without having to use the type of faucet that you need to adequately prime it. So I'm going to set that aside. I do have another box of them. I keep 4 extras on hand. But when you're using the berkey, every so often, like every couple months, you take it out and you use one of those green, like scrubby dish dish things, and any buildup on the outside of the filter you scrub off, and that will greatly extend the life of your filter. And then you reprime it and kind of force the gunk back out through the pores of the filter. We have a couple of life straws. These are something that I would just keep in the car, and we have it on hand. I did want to say something about the life straw. A lot of people show life straws, or they show themselves like drinking out of a puddle, and on the package there's this person and they're drinking out of a puddle. You don't have to drink out of a puddle to use a life straw. A lot of people say, I don't want this because I don't want to have to squat down and drink out of a puddle. Just find any sort of container that's around and put the water in it and then drink out of the container like that. And I was kind of surprised at how many people thought like, oh, I never thought about that. I thought I had to drink out of a puddle with it. So life straws are good because they're very inexpensive. If you wait for the prices to go down, you can get them for $10 to $12. My favorite filters, and these are more like backpacking filters, they're the Sawyer filters. This is a Sawyer Mini and a Sawyer Squeeze, and they both work fine, but the difference is the size and the amount of water that they can filter. I don't really recommend one over the other. I've used the Sawyer Mini for backpacking. It works great for that. These filter, it says right there, you know, bacteria, protozoa, and cysts. These filter more than a life straw does. They also allow you to have a container of water and then drink out of it rather than having to have like your straw and your container separate. The Sawyer Squeeze, if you are really motivated, you could filter enough water for a family with a Sawyer Squeeze. It wouldn't be any fun, but you could do it if you had to. And that's why we keep these on hand. They're also for like hiking purposes. That's more why we have them. The last item that I'm going to show you is something that a lot of people have never seen, and I'd never heard of it until we lived in an area that has hurricanes, and that's a water bob. So a water bob, that's what one side of it looks like, that's what the other side looks like. So water bob is basically, and I'm not sponsored by these companies, I'm not trying to pitch these products, this is just what I have on hand, and it's what I keep for preparedness. I've had this for years. I've never used it, but I like knowing that I have it and can use it if need be. This is something that you would use if you know that your water is going to go out or it's likely to go out. Like the town announces that we're going to be working on the water and water's going to be shut off for 2 days, you know, be prepared for that. This is what you use. Or if a hurricane's coming, that's why I bought these, because we lived where there were hurricanes and we had times where we were out of water. You know, the water wasn't coming from the tap, and what do? This is basically a gigantic plastic bag that fits in your bathtub. You can just put the water in your bathtub and use it, but if you have, that's kind of gross because you bathe in that, unless you've like bleached it out and everything, it's a little gross to drink that water. But also, if you're like me, you have young children, it's not safe to do that. You don't want to have this open bathtub of water just sitting around. You'd still want to, you know, keep your kids away from this, but it's not as dangerous as an open bathtub of water. So it's this big bag, and it has a like a little opening on top, and you fill it from the spigot of the tub, and then the top of it has this sort of like plastic version of the thing on top of a keg, like a beer keg, and that's how you get the water out. And it has this hose, and you can have, you know, you can have a bucket or you can have a pitcher or whatever it is that you're filling on the side of the tub. You don't have to like hold it up to it and fill the water that way. This piece is reusable, and you can buy replacement bags. The two that I have are the full kits, because when I bought these, we had 2 bathtubs and a lot of people, and I thought, like, you know, I want to have 2 of these on hand. Plus, what if I open one and tear it while I'm opening it, because that's the kind of thing I would do. So this part's actually reusable. The bag is not reusable. There's no realistic way to get this completely dry and make sure there's no mildew or anything in it that's going to get you sick. So that's the downside of these water bobs, that if you have a water bob and you use it, but it turns out you didn't actually have to use it, like there's a hurricane coming and you get it all set up and then the water never goes out and you didn't use it, you're out that bag. The replacement bags, the full system I think is about $35. The replacement bags I want to say are about $20, so you're out that money. That's the downside, that it's not easily cleaned. It's not cleanable at all, except for the spigot part. But it is a good product in my opinion that you can use for situations where you know that the water is going to go out or there's a high probability of it. So that's everything that we use for water besides just plain keeping water on hand. And I'd like to thank you for watching.